back to my channel Gabbabetic. You've probably seen from my videos, TikToks and Instagram this summer that I have been traveling all over the world and absolutely loving it. And I thought since I've been doing so much traveling, I should share my tips for flying with type 1 diabetes with you all, because I know flying as a type 1 diabetic, whether you're newly diagnosed or have diabetes a long time, can be a very nerve-wracking experience, especially when you don't know what to expect in terms of different countries, CGMs, insulin bringing on board, lots of different aspects to diabetes that can be nerve-wracking when traveling. I've traveled lots of places. Remember, I've been diagnosed since 2008, so I've done a lot of flying with type 1 diabetes, and I'm actually going on a flight to London Gatwick in a few days, so I'm going to bring you along for that. I'm going to show you my tips with type 1 diabetes and flying, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, and if you're new, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. So let's get started with how to pack to prepare for flying with type 1 diabetes. Here is my carry-on suitcase. This is where I put all of my diabetes medication. It always comes with me. It is never ever checked in. But the main thing with traveling and type 1 diabetes is that you always want to have more than enough, more than what you think you need, because you don't want to be stuck somewhere, you know, if one of these fails or something breaks with no spares. So pack more than you think you need and be ready for your suitcase to be taken up by a lot of type 1 supplies. So let's start. I'm doing a short flight this time, so this is more than enough than what I need. We start off with the Libras. So I have my Freestyle Libre 2. You all know I'm still waiting on the Dexcom, so I've got 2 of them in there. You never know when you're going to get high blood sugar, so definitely bring some ketone strips with you. And likewise, don't forget to bring your ketone monitor. And I have just charged mine up, and if I do a charge, it literally lasts for like a month, so I know that I've charged it up. I don't need to bring this, but you could bring it if you want for peace of mind. Here is my usual monitor. I will be bringing that too, but this is my spare. You don't want to be left without a monitor, so definitely bring a spare. And likewise, always bring a spare insulin pen or pump if you're on pumps, because you know, insulin pen is something that you might not think about. Here is my usual pen that I use. It has jammed and broke on me before, not when traveling luckily, but just at home, and I had to contact Novo Nordisk to get a spare. So I always bring my spare now, just in case, because I don't want to be on holiday and left without an insulin pen. Likewise, if you have a pump, maybe pack a spare pen just in case your pump fails. Definitely pack spare pump parts as well. I don't know much about pump parts. I've never had one, but I'll always bring a spare pen. Got the mobile cassettes that go in here. You know, I do use my Freestyle Libre mostly, but when I have a high or low, I definitely double check on the monitor, so I want to bring them. Got the Lancets for the blood glucose monitor too. And this device is actually really good, so I can't pack my whole massive Sharps box. So what do I do? Because I don't want to go around, I used to go around with like a plastic bag full of needles. This little device is so good. It actually clips the top of the needle, and then you just keep the actual biohazard part in here, and then you can throw that in your Sharps box when you come back. And then you just throw away the plastic part of the needle. So this is very handy. Now, you're probably looking at these and going, hey, these are liquids. How can they go in carry-on? You know, you can always bring your glucose tablets. I have one here if you prefer them. But, you know, don't go anywhere without a hypo treatment. Definitely get either glucose tablets or glucose shots. I love these lift drinks, and they can actually be carried on because they're less than 60 mils. You just got to put them in a plastic bag and present them at security. So I've packed enough of them, and definitely remember your hypo treatment. It's so easy to forget, but you don't want to be somewhere new, especially if you arrive there late at night and there's no shop open and you can't have a hypo treatment, because you never know when you're going to have a hypo. Yeah, this is how my suitcase is looking for carry-on. Obviously then you're probably wondering about the insulin, so I will bring a spare box of Fiasp and a spare box of Tresiba. Very important to remember, never ever put your insulin in the hold of the plane. Do not put it in a checked bag. Always put it in your carry-on, because the insulin cannot be exposed to the extreme temperatures. You can see it there, do not freeze. And often the very low temperatures on the plane, if you put it in a checked-in suitcase, can damage the insulin and it might not work as well. So always, and you're entitled to bring your insulin in your carry-on with you. It never will go in the hold, and no airline should ever make you put it in there either. Like I said, I put these all in the bag, and I'll put these in here as well, and I can just show all the liquid stuff at security. When flying with type 1 diabetes, this is what I would advise. Always bring more than you think that you need. Another advantage to having this stuff in your carry-on is that if you had this in your checked-in suitcase and it went underneath the plane, you know, if it went missing, that would be a very, very bad situation for any type 1 diabetic. So I just always put it in my carry-on, as it gives me peace of mind as well. So that's me all packed. I'm ready to go on my flight in a few days. Before I go though, I wanted to talk a bit about the baggage allowances and the airlines. You are entitled as a diabetic to keep your medical equipment with you in a carry-on, and airlines do give different allowances for this. I can't speak for every airline in the world. I can only really speak with who I've travelled with, and I travel a lot with Ryanair and Aer Lingus because they're the main airlines in Ireland. For example, Aer Lingus's policy is that you have to bring your 10 kg carry-on and check it in. I'm going on a trip in November with Aer Lingus, so when I booked the flight, all I did was contacted the special assistance helpline. It was actually through email. I said, I'm type 1 diabetic, I need to bring my medication on board. And they replied with, that's completely fine, please ignore the requirement to check in your 10 kg bag. You are allowed to bring it on board because we know that you're carrying insulin and medical equipment and no one will question this, so you're perfectly good. And they made a note to the booking. And this is what I mean, the airlines are aware that people have medical requirements. So like Aer Lingus, they said that's fine, bring your stuff on board, no problem. Other airlines I've heard do make extra allowances in terms of weight. You know, the way there's a certain weight allowance like 10 kg. If you let them know I'm bringing more than that because of medical supplies, or I need an extra bag to be allowed because of medical supplies, most likely they will do that for you, no problem. So make sure that you do contact the airline if you need to. Tell them that you're bringing on medical equipment and baggage, and they'll make a note on your booking and it will make your life much easier. So we've talked enough about baggage and packing. It's time to go and get on the flight to London Gatwick, and I'll bring you through the airport with me, and we're going to talk about airport security and managing your devices and your insulin when going through airport security and boarding the plane. So let's talk about CGMs and going through airport security. You can go through the body scanner with your CGM on. I have a Freestyle Libre and this is their response. I've never had any issues. Anytime I've gone through the body scanner, it hasn't even set off. Not once has it set off to have a search, to look at the Freestyle Libre, never ever. So you can definitely walk through and it doesn't damage the Libre at all. I can't speak for Dexcom because I don't have Dexcom. You can go through the body scanner with your CGM on. You don't need to take it off. It will cause no problems and it will work perfectly fine when you go through. You're going to see me go through now with it and I'll show you that. Going through security now. That's where all my CGMs are, so no problem bringing them through. I have my Libre on my arm. You can see it there. And I went through the body scanner, no problem. A lot of you, if you haven't flown, are probably wondering, oh my god, do I need to tell the airport security or TSA or whoever it is that I have all these, CGMs and needles and stuff in my bag? I would advise you to bring a doctor's note with you when traveling that just says this person is type 1 diabetic and they're traveling with this equipment. Now, in saying that, I have never ever been asked for the doctor's note ever, I don't think. Like I said, I've traveled from Ireland to America. I've gone through TSA. I've gone through lots of airports, Gatwick, France, Germany, Portugal, Norway, and no one has ever asked me to produce a doctor's note. What I'll do, and you'll see it now when we go through Dublin Airport, I will simply take my suitcase, put it in the box, put it through, it goes through the scanner, and it just comes out the other side. And every time, if I ever, get pulled to the side for a search, it's never about my diabetes stuff. It's always about something else, like just a random thing. But I still will say, definitely have that doctor's note with you, especially the first time if you're nervous. And just in case anyone says anything to you or queries you, you just pull out the doctor's note and say, I'm type 1 diabetic. So we're in the airport, walking through, gonna go over and get all my liquids ready. So here's all my Lift drinks. And have the insulin in another bag as well that I'll be carrying. But this is how it looks. So I'm past the security there. Insulin there went through no problem, and then there's all of my Lift tablets. So I'm putting them back inside my big suitcase. Like I said, you will get through security no problem. Had all of them with me and I didn't have to show any doctor's note or anything this time in Dublin Airport. So just need to pack up and then we'll go into the airport. Let's talk about flying and blood sugars with type 1 diabetes. So sitting on the flight, you have that inactivity, especially if it's a very long flight, that you're not moving around, you're not doing your usual walking. Your blood sugars will tend to rise, and this is what happens to me. You'll see that if you're sitting around, there's inactive periods for a long time, you might get that rise. My blood sugars would usually go up to like 10 or 11. They're definitely in the kind of yellow colour on the Freestyle Libre. Do expect that and do allow yourself that. Don't feel bad if your blood sugar goes up. One other thing to mention, and you can see I'm laughing a bit because it applies to me. If you have a fear of flying, and I'm telling you now, I have a fear of flying, and I've told you I've flown a lot, but that doesn't mean I don't have a fear. It does make flying with diabetes harder too, because the anxiety and the adrenaline and just everything, the worry, makes my blood sugars just skyrocket up. If you're like me, don't be too hard on yourself about it. I used to be very hard. I used to be like, why do I have this fear of flying? Oh my god, my blood sugars are going up really high. Why am I so bad? And you shouldn't think like that, because if you have a fear, you know, it's a genuine fear. A lot of people have it. So if your blood sugars go up because of that as well, allow yourself, you know, they're going to go up if you're sitting there and inactive. If you have anxiety, just allow yourself, you know, you're dealing with a lot already with your fear flying. You may be tempted then to take a correction if your blood sugars are going that bit high. Just one thing to be wary, definitely go ahead and do it if you feel like doing it, or if you're having a meal and you want to take an extra unit or two to correct, do that. Do be aware though that after you get off the plane and you're active again and you're out of that kind of stressful environment, you may see the drop in your blood sugars. So do be prepared. You might go into hypo. Have your hypo stuff with you like we talked about earlier. You know, when you get off, you might have a longer walk than you expect as well. Have you seen some of the airports? Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, oh my god, running literally from one end of the airport to the other when I was going to Norway to catch that flight. So I was definitely getting some blood sugar drops on that. So do be prepared for things like that. You know, it might be longer than you think. You might be waiting for a bus or a taxi. My tip as well is to, if you can, book an aisle seat, because I just feel like having the aisle seat, you're not squished in the middle or you're not squished in the window, and you can kind of have that, you know, freedom to inject if you're injecting. If you have your pump as well, it might help. A bit more room to kind of move your legs a bit, or even just stand up for a second. I love the aisle seat. That's my favourite seat. Also, I hate looking out the window, so it helps me in that way too. Okay, let's talk about taking blood sugar readings on board. When you put your phone onto airplane mode, if you do, it will most likely disable Bluetooth as well. Freestyle Libre works off NFC though, which is near field communication. My phone is a OnePlus, and actually when you turn on airplane mode, NFC is not disabled. So I'm still able to take a blood sugar reading with my Freestyle Libre on my phone when I'm on board. Can't speak for Dexcom or every other phone that's out there. Definitely check on your own phone before, you know, put your phone in airplane mode when you're at home, see if NFC still works, see if you can still take a reading. If it doesn't work, however, you're not stuck. You can always use your own monitor to take blood sugars. You know, I use the AccuCheck mobile. You know, the Freestyle Libre, you get a reader with it. You can get test strips for this so that you could prick your finger and test as well. So always have your monitor with you. You're going to have it because you're going to have it on holiday anyway. If you ever are stuck, don't forget your monitor to take your blood sugars as well. Last tip, the best tip of all, enjoy yourself. Don't let diabetes worry you too much. If you've high blood sugars on the plane, so what? Like, you're trying your best, you know. That's all you can really do. This diabetes world is tough. Don't let it stop you traveling, you know. You can go anywhere in the world. I've been so many places. I'm literally going to London now, so definitely enjoy yourself. I made it to the gate. My blood sugar is 9.3 and going down. So it's going down from the insulin earlier. I've been walking around. I'm very nervous for the flight. So, you know, the flight is only like less than an hour to Gatwick from Dublin. So it shouldn't be too bad. And then we'll be walking around after. So we'll see how the blood sugar does after. But made it through security, no problem. Insulin, CGMs, everything. Went through fine. Didn't need to fill doctor's notes. So all happy there. Just in Gatwick. Here is my suitcase with all of my diabetes stuff, and I actually had a really good blood sugars on the flight. So you can see now that it's 6.8, and during the flight it was like 7, so it really held steady. I didn't go low at all. I didn't take any like corrections since this morning. When I woke up I was 12, so I took an extra 2 units because I knew the nerves and the anxiety and everything like that. So I actually held steady at a really good level, and I didn't go high, surprisingly. I think because I was actually calmer on this flight than I've been for... I was a bit nervous getting on, but then I kind of calmed down. Seeing as I've been traveling so much, I've kind of gotten over my fear a little bit. When I was like really bad with my fear of flying and terrified, I'd have such high blood sugars. So, but I'm here. I got all of my stuff with me, diabetes stuff, no problem getting off the plane with everything. Bag made it. CGM on, everything fine. So now I'm gonna go and enjoy my trip. So that is my video on flying with type 1 diabetes. I've shared with you my tips, and I hope it can really help anyone who is flying with type 1 diabetes and just make it a bit less nerve-wracking. You deserve to travel as much as anyone else, so don't ever let, you know, these worries or these fears stop you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps. If you did enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, where I'm actually traveling again to somewhere else. So I hope you'll enjoy that. I'm really excited to go, and I'll see you all in the next video.